What is up, guys, and welcome back to this week's episode of Punters Playbook, where we look at betting and stuff, betting and what to bet on, what not to bet on, and are you good at betting, are you bad at betting, right? That's all the stuff we kind of look at, right? We got the board, we got this week's board done up already, right? We're rolling, okay? This is a big week of Punters Playbook. We've got a lot of good footy. The UFC is back from its hiatus, and we've also got another cheeky little pony. Just a few things to go through before we jump into the weeds, before we start looking at all the multis and who's winning and who's not. I'd just like to point out that the Fighting Field Insights crew are officially no longer in the Great Punting Depression, okay? I'm taking myself out of the Great Punting Depression because last week, if you took any tips and tricks from Punters Playbook, okay, because they are good tips and they are good tricks, the horse, cheeky little pony, needs some luck. Race 5, Randwick, okay? You're listening out for that one. He won, all right? He won. And, we got away with a cheeky little bet there. $20 on the nose. Nothing too exuberant, all right? Nothing too exuberant. All right? And also, Cronulla Sharks, Aiden for All Blake, Harodi anytime. Sharks to win. So, seen some good things from that. And then we also just had some good moments. Oh, and Dolphins got through as well. So, winning across the board. Dolphins on the money line, across the board. So, a lot of big moments. What can I say? Right? I always had it in me, okay? But no, I just wanted to get that out, put that out there. This is no longer a failed punting YouTube channel, all right? We have a couple wins under our belt this year. We have a couple wins in the 2025 season, so yeah. But yeah, let's just get into the footy. Let's talk who I think's winning. If you don't know how it works, all right, I went through it last week. I pick tipping. I go off tipping first, so I go through and I do my tips, who I think's going to win, and then I go through and I do my bets, all right? So we're just going to do a bit of a kind of like rapid fire, almost. I'm not going to go too quick, but I'm also not going to dwell on these too much. I've got, this is a tough game. This is one of the tougher games of the round. There's a lot of tough games to pick in here, but I'm probably going to lead the way of the Bulldogs. Tipping's more of a conservative game, I think, and if you're putting your tips in, all right, it's hard not to back an undefeated team that are the betting favourites. So I'm going to go the Bulldogs to win that one. Roosters versus Dragons, another hard game of the round. All right, Roosters home game. Dragons have looked really good. They look like they've just settled into form. I'm going to take the Dragons. They're the betting underdog here. So I'm going to take the Dragons and win this. Roosters have looked unreliable all year. Warriors, Knights. I'm going to take the Wars. It's at home. The Knights are the worst team in the comp right now. Give me the Wars. That's a nice, easy one. Storm versus South Sydney Rabbitohs. We're in the dark ages, man. Okay, we're in the dark ages. We're getting dealt a really bad hand when it comes to the draw. So, yeah, Melbourne Storm. I mean, I betted Melbourne Storm. I don't see them losing. To us, even though I wish we could pull something out, but man, the Melbourne Storm, they're going to be pissed off after that loss to the Dolphins, and they're not going to want to have that happen again. So yeah, Melbourne Storm just makes sense from a tipping standpoint. Cowboys versus Titans. This is a hard one. Titans had a 16-0 lead last week's game. They just fell off the horse. Cowboys. They're Cowboys. They're going to stay on the horse. I've got the Cowboys to win this one. Penrith Panthers, Manly Sea Eagles. I think Panthers might be settling back into their groove. I don't want to speak too soon because they're going to win over the Roosters. Everyone seems to be getting them. Okay. Manly Sea Eagles, there are 3 losses on the trot. Rewind a couple episodes ago and I said that I don't see Manly as a team that lose 2 in a row. Now they're on 3 in a row. And I think this could be the game they go to 4 in a row. I am going to take Manly in this one. Tom Travojevic is just back. Give me Manly to win. Canberra Raiders, Dolphins. This is a really hard game because the Dolphins have been playing really well. But Canberra has a home game. Canberra look really good. Okay. I like Canberra to win this one. I'm riding with Canberra this season. Tigers, Sharks. Do I think the Tigers can bounce back from last week's loss? Maybe. Okay, maybe. but also, the Sharks, they're pretty good. I mean, they're not the best. I mean, I could see this going either way, guys. I could really see this match going either way, but I think I'll take. I think Benji might want to get this one back. I think I'm going to take the Tigers. That's my picks. That's my tips. All right. That's a tipping standpoint. All right. Now we get into the juicy stuff. We get into the punters playbook. We get into the reason why everyone's here. We look at punting, bets, and that. All right. Kicking us off, Thursday night game. One of the biggest games of the round. All right. Broncos versus Canterbury Bulldogs. Bulldogs undefeated. Broncos were looking pretty good, right? They're 2 in a row. 2 losses in a row right now. So Bulldogs, Broncos. Suncorp. Right? Brain fart just there. I'm going to jump into a few stats, just so you know what we're messing with here. Josh Curran has been the first try scorer in each of Canterbury's last 2 matches. So the last 2 weeks, Josh Curran's been getting the ball over the try line first for his team and the whole match. Okay? Bronson Xerri has scored at least 1 try in each of Canterbury's last 6 matches against opponents that were ranked lower on the ladder. So, Broncos are sitting lower, Canterbury's sitting higher. Bronson Xerri might be just, working a little bit of voodoo magic. And he's, scoring tries in that way, okay? Connor Tracy has scored at least 1 try in each of his 4 previous appearances against Brisbane. And Ben Hunt has scored at least 1 try in 3 of his last 4 appearances against the Canterbury Bulldogs at Suncorp Stadium. All right, so there are a lot of anytime try scorer stats there. Yeah, okay. My personal multi for this game, what I think's actually going to happen, I got Connor Tracy, and I am being a little bit biased to my stats. Right, I'm being a little bit biased to my stats. I like my stats. I'm going to go Connor Tracy and Ben Hunt anytime try scorers, all right? Connor Tracy hasn't really scored many tries this season. I don't think he's scored any. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. He might have scored 1. And Ben Hunt has been on a real hiatus. So, yeah, both these guys scored tries. I mean, the Bulldogs' defense is probably going to be strong enough to hold out the Brisbane Broncos, especially a Ben Hunt try. So that's a bit outlandish, but it's a punting game and anything can happen. So it's rugby league and it's simple and anything can happen. So Connor Tracy and Ben Hunt anytime. That's my first multi. Thursday night game. Boom. Done. Roosters versus Dragons. Yeah. Few stats. The Roosters have won each of their last 9 home matches against St. George Illawarra. Alright? Was that 6 of 9? I don't even know my own stats, bro. Has won their last 9 home matches. Alright, so they're winning home matches. Okay. Roosters have won 9 of their last home matches against the Dragons. Boom. Big stat. Whoa. Billy Smith has scored at least 1 try in 4 of his last 5 appearances against opponents that were ranked in the top 8. So, yeah. If you didn't know, Dragons are in the top 8. Huge. And then one of my favourites, which I'm actually going to take, okay, because it's that outlandish and it's that crazy, I really like it. Victor Radley has scored a try in each of Sydney's last 3 home matches against St. George Illawarra. Victor Radley, okay? So I'm jumping on that Victor Radley train and I'm hitting Victor Radley anytime over 45.5. Boom, boom, bang, okay? Easy one. Radley, anytime over 45.5. Thank you. Signed, sealed, delivered. I'm yours. Warriors versus Knights. Newcastle has lost 9 of their last 10 matches in New Zealand. No-brainer. 8 of Newcastle's last 9 matches have gone under the total match point line. Luke Metcalf has scored a try in 4 of New Zealand's last 5 matches. And Newcastle have lost both halves in each of their last 4 matches. There's some pretty helpful stats. I'm going Warriors 13 plus. The Warriors to win both halves. And I'm taking Wade Egan anytime. Wade Egan, whatever. I'm taking him anytime, right? That's my multi. Waz 13 plus, Waz win both halves, and Wade Egan score anytime. Sneaky little hooker try. Dummy half from that. Storm versus Rabbitohs. You guys know my rule. Anything goes over $3.50. Any team in the rugby league goes over $3.50, I'm jumping on that. Take my money. Okay? Even if the betting odds are so outlandish. Because look, we were here this time last week. Am I going to do it to the Storm again? Am I going to curse the Storm again? Maybe, alright? Hopefully. Okay? We were here this time last week. And, we were sitting here and we're going, oh, well, anything goes over $3.50, I'm going to jump on it. Even if it's against the Storm. So, you got the Rabbitohs sitting at $4.50. That's easy money. So I'm going Rabbitohs to win. Latrell Mitchell to score anytime. That's that one. Nice and easy. Do I think the Rabbitohs have what it takes to mount an offense against Melbourne? Not really. Okay, yeah, we've done a little bit of chopping and changing. I'm going to take a little bit of a brief segment here to talk about South Sydney team list really quick. Trell's in at fullback, and Jai Gray's been moved number 14. So justice for Jai, as you know. Fighting Field Insights crew, we're all Jai Gray ambassadors, all right? Big Dally M, Jai Gray ambassadors and that. Trying to push Jai Gray to get a Dally M. We're trying to push Jai Gray to be get on the show, realistically. We want him on the show. We want to talk to him about this. So, I feel like now's the time. It's better than ever, right? No, but in all seriousness, anything goes over $3.50, jump on it, guys. It's simple. It's rugby league. Cowboys, Titans. Did I even give stats for this game? I didn't. I didn't even get stats. If you guys really want to know, Melbourne have won each of its last 16 matches following a loss. So, doesn't look good for us. Melbourne have won the first half in each of their last 6 matches. Latrell Mitchell has scored a try in 4 of his last 5 interstate appearances, and Cody Walker has scored at least 1 try in 5 of his last 6 appearances outside of Sydney. And Grant Anderson has scored at least 1 try in each of his last 4 home appearances. There's a couple stats to help that one out because that was a little bit bland. But yeah, that Cody Walker one's good. It's good value as well. I actually don't mind jumping on Cody Walker there. I didn't personally, but if I had to do a different multi, I'd do like a Melbourne Storm, Grant Anderson, Cody Walker. Cows Titans, where were we? Cowboys versus Titans. Cowboys have won 11 of their last 12 home matches against the Titans, and 6 of the last 7 matches between Cowboys and Gold Coast have gone under the total match points. So yeah, this one's pretty simple for me. I've just gone Cows to win under 49.5 and Purdue to score any time. Nice, simple one, nice and easy one. These are all pretty simple and easy, guys, because we're trying to get back into the win columns here. We're trying to get our rugby league punting mojo back. So I don't want to take these 8-leg anytime try scorer multis if they're not going to get me anywhere. Okay. Manly versus Penrith. 7 of Manly's last 8 away matches have gone over the total match point line, and Penrith have won the first half in each of its last 8 home matches against Manly. All right, that stat may be a little bit whitewashed from the Penrith legacy now that we're in 2025 and Penrith had 5 losses in a row. That could be something different to look at, but nonetheless, I've gone for over 46.5 total match points. I've got Tommy Turbo and Liam Martin to score anytime. Nice little cheeky Turbo anytime try scorer in there because he's back, all right? I'm a big believer in rugby league omens, and a big rugby league omen is Tommy Turbo returning, okay? It always is. Raiders versus Finns. The Dolphins have lost each of their last 7 interstate matches. 8 of the Dolphins' last 9 matches have gone under the total match points line. Canberra have scored the first try in each of their last 8 home games. And the Dolphins have lost the first half in 5 of their 6 last away matches. So, yeah. What's the storyline there? What's the narrative there? Canberra scoring tries early at home, right? Boom, bang. Knew that. I'm going to jump on a Huddy this week. I was a little bit ignorant last week and didn't jump on a Huddy, but I'm going to jump on a Huddy this week. I'm going to go Hudson Young, Hammer, Canberra first half. Boom. Like that one. Hammer's paying $2 odds. Huddy's paying $2 odds. Canberra to win first half. I likey. Tigers versus Sharks, the final match of the weekend. 2 nice Sunday games, may I just add. A few stats for these 2 stinkers. Tigers versus Sharks. The West Tigers have lost 9 of their last 10 matches against teams on a winning streak. 5 of Cronulla's last 6 matches have gone under the total match point line. The West Tigers have lost the first half in each of their last 4 matches at Leichhardt Oval. So yeah, there's some really cool stats in there actually. I really like the stat about the losing first halves at Leichhardt Oval. That's a cool one. And yeah, multi for this one. Obviously, this was our game winner last week with Cronulla, but I'm not going to try and jinx it and do it again. So I've jumped on a Nikura, Ronaldo Mulatara, and Sharks to win the first half. Okay, nice and simple, nice and easy. Yeah, that's all the games, guys. That's all the games. All right, we did some serious stat work for this video. Some serious stat work. We did the nitty gritty, the deep dive, and the stats. And, we got you everything you guys really needed, all right? But no, in all seriousness, really epic games of rugby league this weekend. I think this Thursday night game is going to be a banger. The opener for Friday afternoon is going to be a banger. Roosters versus Dragons. That's going to be an awesome game. Warriors Knights is going to be, I think, a bit of a whacking. Melbourne Storm versus Rabbitohs. I really hope Rabbitohs can pull it off, okay? But if not, it's going to be a whacking. So them 2 games, they're entertaining, but I can sort of see where they're going to go. Cowboys Titans. This will be a competitive, close game. I'd like to think. Penrith Manly going to be a really good game. That's going to be a great game. Raiders Dolphins is a great Sunday game, and I honestly don't mind Tigers versus Sharks. So yeah, good round of footy. A lot of good multis, guys. Yeah, we're gonna jump out of rugby league now, and we're gonna quickly jump back into the UFC because the UFC's back, guys. That's the big storyline for this week. The UFC's back. Okay, we've finally got the UFC back. They had a bit of a break for the Easters. I don't have a huge research list, stat list for these guys. If you want to look at interesting facts and stats and breakdowns and pick'ems and fighting advantages, go check out Fight IQ because we've already done a video on all of these fights. All right, I'm just here to point out the fights that are happening. The good ones and the ones I like to pay money, alright? Ian Gary, Carlos Prates, that's an obvious one. Prates is the underdog. Gary's a betting favourite. These are all sort of bum fights. If you really want to know about any of these ones, go check out the Fight IQ. Chris Gutierrez versus John Castaneda. That's a pretty cool fight. I don't mind that one. Gutierrez is the favourite. Ikram Alaskar versus Andre Muniz. Muniz is a huge betting underdog. Right, Abus Magomedov, which is one of my cash cows for this week because I think he's better than what people are letting on. Giga Shikadze versus David Onama. David Onama betting favourite. Randy Brown, huge betting favourite over Nicholas Dolby, and then Anthony Smith is getting his retirement fight against Zhang Mingyang, or whatever you want to say. All right. So some really epic UFC fights, guys. We're going to talk more UFC here on what's paying good and what's paying not what's not paying good. We're going to talk about that over here on the board, guys. It's that time of the week. We're going to jump on the board. Just give me a bit of rugby league to look at. Right, suits me, calms me down. Taking it to the board, guys. Taking it to the board. This is a weekly thing. We look at the board. Right, the board is what. The board's what people love. The board's what people love to see. It's what you all come here for a Punters Playbook, okay? And what do we got? Cash cows, locks, long shots. If you don't know it now, stop asking, okay? I've explained it so many times. Our cash cows for this week. Broncos, Dragons, Manly, Finns, Titans, Tigers. A lot of cash cows this week. A lot of teams who have been put in there as an underdog but have a good chance of winning, all right? Broncos are paying $2.55. Dragons are paying $2.10. Manly are paying $2.55. The Dolphins are paying $2.35. The Titans are paying $3. And the Tigers are paying $2.80, all right? There's a lot of good value in there for football, okay? Headed into the UFC, a couple of fighters that I see as cash cows, a couple of cashed up cows for the UFC for the fights. Carlos Prates paying $2.10, all right? I think he's got a puncher's chance. I think we haven't seen enough of his game to know if he's going to lose this fight, okay? We haven't seen enough of his fight IQ, but we know he's got the punching power to knock Ian Gary out. So $2.10 is great value there. Abus Magomedov, $2.15, all right? As I just said previously, I think Abus is getting overlooked in this fight, all right? I think he's got a good chance And then Timothy Karamba. Yeah, one of them snoozy fights I didn't mention there a minute ago. I think I'd like to stack these 3 fights up in a multi, and that'd pay a decent amount of money. These 3 to win on the money line would be looking at that's a pretty good bet in my opinion, and maybe even on a boost to go the decision. Locks for this week: Warriors, Storm, Dogs. Warriors playing the Knights. They're going to be put a lock. Welcome Warriors to the lock section. It's the first time we've ever been a lock, right? On Fight Field Insights history. Storm. They're a lock every week. They haven't left the lock box, right? Locked up in the lock box. And then the Dogs, welcome. You're making your lock box debut at Fight Field Insights. Was $1.32. Storm $1.20 and Dogs $1.52. So they're not paying anything, but they're in there just to let you know that they're safe bets. As far as UFC goes, Ian Gary's paying $1.75. Zhang Min Yang's paying $1.17. Randy Brown's paying $1.44. And Ikram Alaskarov is paying $1.16. Stack these guys up in a little multi. You know, it might be paying more than what they're all paying by themselves. Not much else to say about that. Long shots. We got some serious long shot action going on here this week, boys. Dolphins were in the long shot last week, and they made it out. So it is proof that teams can make it out of the long shot box. All right. Barney's paying $4.50, huge long shot. Knights $3.45. Proof that not proof of anything. I don't know what I was about to say there. I got a little bit confused. I'm trying to fix the board up so you guys can somewhat see a bunch of scribbles. Knights $3.45. I don't think the Knights are going to win, but they're in the long shot box for a reason. Into the UFC, Anthony Smith retirement fight. Andre Muniz and Jimmy Flick. Anthony Smith and Muniz playing $5 plus. And then Jimmy Flick, $3.80. I think if you watch Fight IQ, I said Jimmy Flick looks like a bit of a dog. He's got a lot of heart, and I think he's going to hang in there. So yeah, that's our long shots, locks, and cash cows. Take from that what you will. All right, we've got a really good week for cash cows. It's a really good week for punting, guys. Don't look past any of these teams in this blue box here. Try scorers, all right? Some serious juice in the try scorers. I've changed it up a little bit this week. Last week, I just had a bunch of try scorers that I liked. This week, I picked one player from each team. Kicking us off with the Broncos. Jesse Arthur's paying $2, $2.02. All right, that's great value for a try scorer who's been prolifically scoring tries this season, all right? So I like him at $2. That's hard to steer. That's hard to steer clear of. Jake Kiraz, although he hasn't had the most tries this season, $2.20 I think is pretty good for him, man. You know, I think he's going to look to get a little bit active. Billy Smith, $2.60. There was a stat on there somewhere. He's 5 of his last 6 games, 4 of his last 5 games he's scored a try in. So Billy Smith can score a try, $2.60. I like that. Damien Cook, $5.60. We haven't seen a dummy half little, poke his head out of the line try from Damien Cook in a while. So I like that one right there, baby. $5.60 for a Damien Cook try. Give it to me. Luke Metcalf, $2.75. He scored a lot of tries this year. I think there was a stat in there. 5 of his last 6 games or something. So yeah, Metcalf, $2.75. I like that. That's a money bet. Bradman Best, $3.15. I keep putting Best on here every week because, come on, I'm a Bradman Best guy. $3.15. You can't look past him. Getting that, he's one of the best centers in the comp. Grant Anderson, $2.25 for the Storm. Start on that. Scored a try every home game this year. Whatever. For Melbourne. $2.25. Can't look past that. Troll Mitt, $3.20. He's back at fullback. He's playing at that position that he's comfortable in. $3.20 I think is perfect for a Latrell. AJ Brimson's $3.45. He's damn near scored every week, guys, okay? He's damn near scored every week. So $3.45, yes please. Send that my way, alright? Jackson Purdue, $2.45. I think he's a good try scorer. I think he'd be a kind of try scorer who could sit in against Gold Coast. Ruben Garrick, $3.40. As you know, we here at Fight Field Insights, we're big Ruby G guys. We're big deal for the year guys. So Ruby G, $3.40. I like that. Liam Martin, $3.70. I'm pretty sure I've backed Liam Martin for a try every week since the start of the season. $3.70. I like Liam Martin. I like him to just rush for a line. Huddy. As you know, we're taking a Huddy. We're taking a Huddy this week. We're going $2.45 for a Huddy. Jump in on a Huddy. And then Jake Averillo, $3.20. Come on, cuts. Right? $3.20 for Jake Averillo. We like that. And then over here, Hiroti, $2.25. He's been scoring tries like it's going out of fashion. He was on here last week. He made the board last week, and so did this man, Stafford To'o. $3.60, that's great value. This guy's a prolific try scorer, and if he gets the ball, he's probably going to get a try. That's our try scorers for the week, guys. One player from each team. Hopefully that's, I wasn't picking off who I liked. I wasn't picking off price. I was picking off two things. Price, for one, but not by itself. Price and likelihood to score, okay? Because, I could easily, go to a Terrell May or a Payne Haas, $6.20 or $7, whatever, and chuck them on there, because that's great value, all right? But what are you going to get with that? They're probably not going to score. So these are good prices, I think, for players who are likely to score, all right? To round us out, I'm pretty sure I've got nothing else to touch on. To round us out, we've got our cheeky little pony, guys. We've got a cheeky little pony. Remember at the start of the video, a little cheeky little pony from last week needs some luck. Yeah, you remember him? Randwick, race 5, you remember him? Yeah, he won. So this week, we heard it all the way to Queensland. Eagle Farm, race 9, we got Ned's Gully, okay? It stood out to me because we're betting on Neds. We're big Neds guys. So I'm taking horse number 7, Ned's Gully, Randwick, race 9. It's a late race, okay? So stay up, get your popcorn, have a beer. Ned's Gully, race 9, race 9, Eagle Farm. Oops. Race 9, Eagle Farm, number 7. Cheeky pony. Come on, guys. That's Punters Playbook, guys. That's everything we needed to touch on. That's everything we got for today. Okay? That's all our stats and facts. It's all our little interesting things we've got to put in there. Okay? As always, right? I hope everything I've just spewed here for the last 20 to 30 minutes gives you guys some insights into your punting journey this weekend. All right? I think it's a bit of a lock in for the Fighting Field Insights viewers to just jump on the cheeky pony. It doesn't hurt, all right? It's proven, all right? Need some luck. He won last week. It's proven, okay? What else do you need from me? Need some luck. It was proven last week. He won. Oh, shit. Okay? So, look, I suggest you guys jump on Ned's Gully. Race 9. Eagle Farm. But, yeah. With that being said, there's not much else to go through here, guys. Great round of footy. Great couple of fights coming up on Sunday. And a cheeky little pony on Saturday. So, yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. And I will... I'll see you guys in the next episode of Punters Playbook. Yeah. Jai Gray, please reach out. Jai Gray, please come on the show, bro. I'm serious, Jai Gray, please come on the show. Please. We'll set some up nice. We'll get like some nice setup going for you, bro. We'll get like a nice little podcast set up. Just, give me a little bit of your time. Thanks, Jai. Thanks. Cheers, mate.